Leviticus 8. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, "Take Aaron and his sons with him, the garment, the anointing oil, the sin offering bull, the 2 rams, the basket of unleavened bread, and assemble the whole congregation at the entrance of the tent of meeting." We have had instructions on how to do everything. Now we're going to implement the process so that these things can actually be put into practice. So Moses did just as the Lord commanded him, and the congregation assembled at the entrance of the tent of meeting. Then Moses said to the congregation, "This is what the Lord has commanded to be done." So Moses brought Aaron and his sons forward and washed them with water. Then he put the tunic on Aaron, wrapped the sash around him, and clothed him with the robe. Next, he put the ephod on him and placed on him the decorative band of the ephod and fastened the ephod closely to him with the band. He then set the breastpiece on him and put the Urim and the Thummim into the breastpiece. Finally, he set the turban on his head and attached the gold plate, the holy diadem, to the front of the turban, just as the Lord had commanded. So we've just gone through all the instructions for Aaron and his sons on the instruments that they are to wear. We've just gone through all of the processes and the procedures for offering sacrifices, all of those things with if you violate these things, you're cut off from the people, you are unclean, you are not able to participate. And now we're going to now establish Aaron to do all of these things. So we're going through, we're putting the things on Aaron, we're adding all of these things on him. And I just want to point out one of these things. Finally, he set the turban on his head and attached a gold plate, the holy diadem on the front of the turban that says, "Holy to God." So he has a turban on his head. So when Paul, who is Jewish in the New Testament, is talking about a man with head coverings, he can't be talking about it in this manner because the priest is wearing a turban. He knows full well the priest wears a turban. So the fullness of what Paul is talking about with head coverings there needs to be read in light of the fact that the high priest is wearing a turban and on it says "holy, devoted to God" with a gold plate on it, and he goes and ministers before the Lord. So there must be something else going on when he's talking about head coverings there fully in the New Testament. So you need to come back and read through this. I'm not going there. I'm only bringing this up. This piece of instructions needs to be considered when you're reading through what Paul talks about in the New Testament. Then Moses took the anointing oil and anointed the tabernacle and everything in it, and so consecrated them. Why is Moses doing this and not Aaron the priest? Because Moses is the prophet. Moses has already been anointed by God to do the role of the things he's called to do. The prophet has to anoint the priest to get things started. The priest then will anoint the king when the king comes along later. So we have succession of anointing here. So it is the passing on of the anointing that Moses has in some ways onto the tabernacle through the process that has been instructed. So consecrated them, so they are set apart. Now he sprinkled some of it on the altar 7 times, and so anointed the altar, all its vessels, the wash basin, and its stand to consecrate them. He then poured some of the anointing oil on the head of Aaron and anointed him to consecrate him. So we're getting a list of these things. We are told what was to happen. Now we are getting, indeed, they did happen, so that there was no, we could just summarize it, and he anointed everything as God had instructed. No. We're getting the details. We are going through the process of the ceremony, the celebration of everything happening. Moses also brought forward Aaron's sons, clothed them with tunics, wrapped sashes around them, and wrapped headbands on them, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Then he brought near the sin offering bull, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands on the head of the sin offering bull, and he slaughtered it. Moses then took the blood and put it all around on the horns of the altar with his finger and purified the altar. And he poured the rest of the blood at the base of the altar and so consecrated it to make atonement for it. Then he took all of the fat entrails and the protruding lobe of the liver and the 2 kidneys and the fat, and Moses offered it up in smoke on the altar. But the rest of the bull, its hide, its flesh, and its dung, he completely burned up outside the camp, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. So one point is, all of this is doing, Moses is following the instructions perfectly, to how they're supposed to be done. He's doing everything in the proper sequence, the proper order, and to the proper specifications. But I do want to back up for a minute on one thing. He consecrates the altar. The altar is consecrated, and the altar has atonement made for it. Why would an altar need atonement made for it? Okay, so and consecrated it refers to the effect of the blood manipulation earlier in the verse. The goal here was to consecrate the altar in order that it might become a place on which it would be appropriate to make atonement before. So they didn't go on the make atonement for. They just went on the consecrating. Well, consecrating is setting apart. So it's being consecrated. It's set apart as holy as opposed to being unclean or to be just normal. So being sacred, set apart, is to be different than ordinary. So it is consecrated. It is set apart to make atonement on it. So it is not being atoned for itself. It is being set apart. The atonement takes place on it. So things that are being atoned for, this is the vessel for where the atonement takes place. That is where atonement happens, on the altar. The offerings are made there to make atonement for, to make at one meant, to make restoration of relationship with. So I just wanted to go over that just a second. Then he presented the burnt offering ram. Now remember, there were several different processes that were supposed to happen. This is supposed to happen over several days and then annually as well. So we're in the first stages of this. He presented the burnt offering ram, and Aaron and his sons laid hands on the head of the ram, and he slaughtered it. Now, it doesn't tell us that laying the hands on the ram is transferring sin. It does not say that. The laying of hands on isn't a transfer of sin in some way, because later on, when people are consecrated and set apart, they have hands laid on them. So we're not thinking transference of sin. It is designation is what is partly happening here. This is the one that is designated for this purpose. So think of laying hands on as designation of purpose. And he slaughtered it. Moses then splashed the blood against the altar side. Then he cut the ram into pieces. And Moses offered the head, the parts, and the suet up in smoke. But the entrails and the legs he washed with water. And Moses offered the whole ram up in smoke on the altar. It was a burnt offering for a soothing aroma, a gift to the Lord, just as the Lord commanded Moses. So here we have a smoke offering that is going up. It was a burnt offering, so the entirety of the ram is offered. The entirety of the bull was offered. Parts of the bull are on the altar. The rest of the bull is outside because it doesn't work. It doesn't fit on the altar. You take that part outside. The ram portions go forward. Portions are washed. Then the whole of it is put on, and the rest of it is offered up. Then he presented the second ram, the Ram of Ordination. And Aaron and his sons laid their hands on the head of the ram, and he slaughtered it. Moses then took some of the blood and put it on Aaron's right earlobe, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. Next, he brought Aaron's sons forward, and Moses put some of the blood on their right earlobe, and on the right thumb, and on the big toe of the right foot, and Moses splashed the rest of the blood against the altar's side. So you have the consecration of Aaron and his sons, and you have them having blood being put upon them to set them apart. It is symbolic, and if we want to go back to, the blood is put on the doorpost to sign and mark the household as that belonging to God. So the ear, the thumb, the big toe. So we could go in a sense of all those things that are heard and spoken to the people from God are coming through the vessel of God to the people. The hand that acts, that does all the sacrifices, that does all the work, is the hand that has been consecrated to do the work of God. The foot, wherever it goes and brings the presence of God to the people and offers the offerings and brings them into the places where they should be, has been consecrated and set apart. So the person is a vessel for the work of God, has been set apart and marked as belonging to God. I think that's part of what we have going on here. Otherwise, there might be more to the hand, the ear, and the foot, but I think that's part of what we have. They belong to God. They are set apart as God's vessels for the work of the temple. Then he took the fat, the fatty tail, all the fat of the entrails, the protruding lobe of the liver, and the 2 kidneys and their fat, and the right thigh. And from the basket of unleavened bread that was before the Lord, he took 1 unleavened loaf, 1 loaf of bread mixed with olive oil, and 1 wafer, and placed them on the fat parts and the right thigh. Then he put all of them on the palms of Aaron and his sons, who waved them as a wave offering before the Lord. Here's one of the things that just to me is man, why don't we do this anymore? I mean, wave offerings would be fun. Would they not be fun? I mean, we have the passing of the collection plate. We're not waving it around. And I'm not saying, that everybody can always wave, but I was just there's something cool of, look at what I'm bringing. I'm bringing this, and God, look what I'm bringing you. I mean, I don't think we have to do this every time we gather, but how cool would it be to have a wave offering Sunday? That you figure out a bank that will let you do this of a giant checks or something, or you print fake giant checks and you have them and everybody's waving their big giant checks or something. I mean, it'd be cool. You're going to wave our bills before we put them in the collection. No, not the church's bills. The people bringing the offerings of what they're bringing, wave them before God. Moses then took them from their palms and offered them up in smoke on the altar on top of the burnt offering. They were an ordination offering for a soothing aroma. It was a gift to the Lord. Oh, you meant the dollar bills for the collection. Okay. Our bills. The dollar bills. Okay. I was just thinking, too, there are some churches. Here's a place where we could actually do this. There are some churches that do pledges that you are going to give and then they do the budget based on pledges for next year. If you are one of those churches that did pledges, you could have a pledge Sunday where you wave your pledged offering to the Lord. You put it in an envelope or on a postcard is often how I saw them do, one church I was in that did it on a postcard. You come, you present them, you wave them before the Lord. You have, during the first 3 songs, come forward and make your pledge, your wave offering before God, and we're celebrating and we're praising and we're thanking and you keep coming and you do that. I mean, could be a fun thing to do. Finally, Moses took the breast and waved it as a wave offering before the Lord from the Ram of Ordination. It was Moses' share, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. So Moses ends up with a share. He is a son of Levi. He is the prophet. He ends up with portion of the Ram of Ordination. So as the priest, or the prophet standing in for the priest, who is putting and installing and ordaining the priesthood, he stands in, he has a portion, he's performing the work of God. Then Moses took some of the anointing oil and some of the blood which was on the altar, and he sprinkled it on Aaron and his garments and on his son and his son's garments. So he consecrated Aaron, his garments, his sons, and his son's garments. So Aaron, his sons, their garments all being set apart. They are all being made sacred, set apart, anointed for the work that God is calling them to. Then Moses said to Aaron and his sons, "Boil the meat at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and there you are to eat it, and the bread which is in the ordination offering basket, just as I have commanded you," saying, Aaron and his sons are to eat it. but the remainder of the meat and the bread must be burned with fire. So we're finishing the ceremony by participating in the consuming of the portions that are not burned. So you're consuming them, you boil this meat, and you eat it from the ordination. You're not burning it with fire, you're not roasting it, you're boiling it here. And then you're consuming it, and you're eating the bread. You must not go out from the entrance of the tent of meeting for 7 days. So now you're in the tent of meeting for 7 days. You're in the process of being set apart until the day when your days of ordination are complete, because you must be ordained over a 7-day period. What has been done on this day, the Lord has commanded to be done, to make atonement for you. So this is making atonement for you. So you are in right relationship with God. This is how you're making right relationship with God of the priest, who then make the way for right relationship with the people. You must reside at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and day and night for 7 days, and keep the charge of the Lord, so that you will not die. For this is what I have been commanded. So Aaron and his sons did all these things the Lord had commanded through Moses. Now, there were other offerings that were to happen every day for the 7-day consecration of the tent and the Aaron and all of those places. So I don't know what all has been done as far as the tent goes, but Aaron and his sons here, we're following everything that was instructed. They have been set apart. They're in the process of finishing all of that work, of making them set apart to God so they can do the work.